I'm Dr. Jordin Wiggins, and this is the Pleasure Principles podcast. Join me on this journey where sex, science, and sensuality meet. Let's change the conversation around sex and pleasure together. Hello, Superwomen. I'm feeling direct today, a little salty, a little day 26 of my cycle. And actually, I'm working on content for the Feminine Mentorship Retreat, which is next week in person. I get to hug and love on and lovingly call out these women on their shit. My cheeks hurt from smiling, so excited. I've been doing the calls before this week, and we're talking about the laws of desire and seduction. And it's an amazing way to call ourselves out on all the things that we say we want, but we don't have, and all the drama that we create in our own lives. Anyways, it is a fun way, a really, really fun way to do some super deep work on our shadows. And it's like a year of therapy in one weekend. So what superwoman does not like efficiency surrounded by other amazing women? So when I'm coaching on how to regain desire in relationship, that primal nature of a new relationship, that spark, or I'm working with clients on how to maintain it in a long-term relationship, because some of you are serial monogamous, or you're going to get bored after that new relationship energy fades, and this is a pattern in your relationship. Especially my super successful men, I'm looking at you. You love the chase, you love the NRE, but you lose it after the having. You don't know how to have. So this comes down to desire and when desire fades. Now, some of this is science. It's biology. I talk about this in detail in my book, The Pink Canary. Physiologic in relationship, we are trading dopamine, norepinephrine. Dopamine is that makes us feel pleasure, motivation, reward. Norepinephrine is like arousal, alertness, memories. Like we can think about that person, we're motivated to see them. And then that shifts after a while to producing more oxytocin. And that's the connection. And a lot of it's released after women have babies. So we bond with our babies. And women are said in a lot of studies to release more oxytocin than men after sex. So anyways, also, I think some of this is debatable and filtered through a patriarchal lens. For another episode, I said I would keep it short and sweet. Relationships sacrifice passion for domesticity. Esther Perel speaks on this so much. Love her. Want to give you a Coles Notes and what I see and how I help high achieving women specifically have sex with passion, keep that passion, or maybe create it for the first time because maybe you've never had it. You've probably heard that desire is like a bridge. There's space between you two, and you are like building a bridge to create that closeness together. So logically, when relationships fail, when desire fades, now, first of all, I don't want you to blame the new relationship energy. That honeymoon period, that's biology. When that fades, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the relationship. It just means we have to learn how to reverse engineer this, how to hack this to keep, we want it to feel warm and cozy like a fire with some sparks, with those like embers, and we need a little excitement. We are super women. A lot of us have a trauma brain, and yeah, we desire more out of relationships than just a good teammate. So logically, when relationships fail, there are two reasons why. There is no more space, there is no more distance between you two. And number two, the desire to close the space has gone away. So Relationships default to the low desire partner. The low desire partner is setting the tone. If one person stops desiring to close the gap, that's what drives the relationship dynamic. So, and think about it. It's like, say I meet a man in California. So he's in California, I'm in Toronto. Two very different locations, lots of newness, lots of things to explore. There's a distance between us that we need to like navigate and build that bridge together. But when we move in, live on top of each other, have the same routine, there's no space. It is our tendency to become enmeshed, especially as overachieving, people pleasing people raised as women in our culture. Enmeshed is when our boundaries are permeable and unclear, and like we don't even really have a self anymore. We don't even really have space between us and other people. And this is also why I see a lot of relationships fail or struggle after children, because we are not only enmeshed with our partner, we have no space, but we're also enmeshed with our children. And like that is hard to be a mom and have a baby that you are literally feeding, like keeping alive with your boobs. It's as they're getting older, they have needs. So it's navigating this. And we know, like in healthy development, they are supposed to, our children are supposed to separate from us and stand on their own 2 feet and be little leaders. And we cannot do that if we are enmeshed. And I see so many superwomen just enmeshed with their children, enmeshed with their partners, enmeshed with their staff. Like, I'm dry just telling you about this. So desire fades when there stops being space between you. And when one person doesn't desire and or when one person doesn't desire to close the gap anymore. The plot needs to advance. You need to go somewhere together. You have to have the desire to. And we also have to learn how to do this alone. Think about when you meet, there's so much space. Everyone has their own lives. And easily with moving in together, domesticating children, we get into these routines. And I call this a gray relationship. When people are depressed, they often describe it as gray. They're kind of meh about everything. They're going through the motions. They're not excited about that. Medically, we call this anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure and joy. Things that used to make you happy don't make you happy anymore. You're just gray, you're kind of numb, you're just sort of floating through life. Characteristics of a gray anhedonic relationship. It is familiar, it is repetitive, it's predictable, it's enmeshing, it's comfortable, it's easy. And for those of you, I want to note, for those of you with a trauma or abuse history, there are elements of healthy, secure relationships in here, and I am not discrediting that. So remember at the beginning of a relationship, even brushing your teeth and getting into bed with someone was exciting, could vividly tell you about these exact moments with my last 2 relationships. What we were wearing, where we were, smiling at each other with toothbrushes in our mouth. Okay, again, remember, new relationship energy, norepinephrine, dopamine. That's why that's solidified in my brain. So fast forward, a lot of my clients have different bedtime routines, different evening routines, kind of avoiding each other, trying to maybe create some space that we don't have. So what do we do if we want to get the desire back? If we want to have passionate sex, we intentionally create space in our relationships. It creates separation and longing. It creates novelty. It gives us that distance to cross. Because if there's no distance, then there's like, how can we desire to cross it? It is characteristic of superwomen to give it all. So there is no space. We overgive until we have nothing left. Our tanks are empty, and then we are crusty, wondering, why does he not desire me anymore? I'm going to tell you a secret. You are so much more desirable when your tank is 50% full or greater. And again, I'm not shaming women here. We have the patriarchy, we have relationship roles, we have the construct of marriage, like women in subtly abusive relationships, because That's just what permeates society. Like they don't even know they're in an abusive relationship. That was my rant. But we're talking about people that want to increase their desire in healthy relationships, not actively abusive ones. We are great. Superwomen are great at shaking things up in their careers. When something's not working, we're going to find a way to do it differently. Or, we're creative, we're passionate, we get bored by the same old thing. So we're creating something new, like my Dirty Talk guide, which if you have not downloaded it, you're going to want to download it. Just redid that again. Had one before, it was still good, it still worked, but I wanted to create a new one. And this is one way that we can recreate the passion in your relationship. A little dirty talk, a little newness. Head to the show notes and download that one. Okay, so how to have sex with passion. Create space so you can have longing and distance to cross. We need to create space to crave each other, to long for each other, and then have. And having each other in a way that is sacred for the two of you. And that has to do with energy balance, but I will tell you about that later. So, creating space, we can do that by a solo trip, by sleeping apart sometimes or all the time, by having me time to fill your pleasure tank. You need to remain full. So, another way to look at this is, are you a good destination? Are you a destination that people want to come to? Or are you so crusty and so resentful that you are repellent? And I know this is hard to hear because you overgive and you do so much, but this is the dynamic that we need to fix. If we want to have sex with passion, if we want to feel supported, I did a series on this, episodes like 115 to 117, I think, about pleasure tanks and being crusty and repellent. So it explains that in more detail there. The fourth tip is no penetration and oral. Try reconnecting through touch. So take sex and oral off the table for a little while. Remember when you were getting to know each other or in high school and exploring how turned on you got? That will happen again. So try it. Do it for a month. Learn how to touch each other again, not just in the same old way. Number 5, learn how to seduce each other. Hello, I just told you, Dirty Talk Guide. Head to the show notes, download it. And number 6, and the best way to have passionate sex, the sex you've been craving, is to have sexual mastery. Are you somebody that truly knows how to give and receive touch and pleasure? Or are you going through checklists in your head? Do you have the ability to exquisitely, masterfully handle your lover's body? What about your own? Do you even know how to do that for yourself first? Because you are your own best lover. And we have outsourced our power to men because of the patriarchy and our lack of sexual education. But if you don't know these things for yourself, how can you ever expect your partner to? When you are outsourcing your pleasure, your desire, your wants, your needs, how to be touched, when you're making that your partner's responsibility, that is a bad energetic balance. That is you taking, that's you energetically taking in a relationship. And over time, that tank will run dry too. I am a joy to give pleasure to, and it took work. Retraining my nervous system, my beliefs. Most superwomen are like fucking robots. Even if we're making it about other people's pleasure and like the guy's not complaining because he's getting off, superwomen are like robots. Our energy is masculine, penetrating. And I say that like, and it's like, it's tight, it's tense. I've been there. I used to have pelvic pain, so much pelvic pain, especially in my rectum. I was a tight ass, literally. There's no space in there. I had to learn how to create it. So if you want to learn sexual mastery, how to be a joy to give pleasure to, how to masterfully pleasure your partners, and restore the energy dynamic in your relationship. And if you want to be taught by somebody that has 10 years of medical education and experience in helping over 2,000 women, that has children, that has been divorced, that has a superwoman brain, I've walked this path and I know how to help you. So I have 2 spots open in my 3-month private coaching program, and I am opening 5 more spots to revive 5-week program to heal your relationship dynamic for high achievers. We will put both of those in the show notes. Do not wait. You have prioritized all of these other things in your life to become masterful at them. Why would you not want to be masterful at sex and pleasure and intimacy? It's time. No more excuses. Don't put it off. Head to the show notes, apply. Let's get on a call and see how I can help. Have a great week, everybody. If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.